In the last video, I talked about editing differently as an indie, using the codex actively, checking as you go rather than fixing everything at the end. If that's how you've been working, this is where it pays off. Today, I want to talk about proofreading, specifically how many times I read my own book before I let it out into the world. I'm Andy Guile, independent author and publisher. I've got 2 books out, a third in proofreading right now, and a 4th in development. Now, I'm not an expert. I'm sharing what works for me. If you find this useful, like and subscribe, leave a comment and help me grow the channel. Now, proofreading is 100% human. I've used AI at key points during the writing and editing process. I think it's a genuinely useful tool when you use it in the right way. But proofreading isn't that stage. This is all about me and my book. The reason is simple. If I can't sit down and read my own book as a reader, why would I expect anybody else to? Can I read this thing and feel it working? If the answer is no, I've got more work to do. If the answer is yes, I'm close. Now, when the manuscript is finished, I make a fake book. I format it, I give it a cover, and I load it on my Kindle, and then I leave it. A few weeks at minimum, long enough that the memory of writing it starts to fade. Long enough that I can come back to it as a reader rather than the person who wrote it. When I do come back, I don't read it at my desk. I read it the way I'd read any other book. In the garden, in bed, in a coffee shop, sitting in the car waiting for my son. I use the Kindle deliberately so I can't annotate it. I can't start fixing things as I go. All I can do is read. And that discipline is harder than it sounds. When I spot something wrong, every instinct says, fix it. But I resist that. The read is about one thing. Does the book work? Is it the story I wanted it to be? Does it feel right? I'm building a sense of it all, not a list of corrections. And then I go to the markup pass. Now, I used to do this with A4 printouts, paperback size, white spacing around it, sticky notes. It worked, but I've refined this step. I do the same job now on my iPad, highlighting the text, adding the notes, and building a log of everything that needs to change. One pass through the whole manuscript, then I work through the log and build draft 2. Then draft 2 goes back on the iPad. Same process, reading as a reader. This time I do take notes, hence the iPad, as I go, and I give it a final typing. By this point though, the big things are resolved. The pass is about feel. Does it flow? Does every sentence still need to be there? This gives me draft 3. Then draft 3 goes up to Amazon and I order a proof copy, paperback and hardback. And when they arrive, I read one of them again. Normally, the hardback. I still catch things, not many, but they're there. That's not really what this read is for though. It's about the object. Is this a book I'd spend money on? Does it look right? Does the layout work? Does it feel like it belongs on the same shelf as those books sitting next to it? Because it will sit next to those books. So how many passes is that? 4 or 5? Depending how you count. The actual answer is, it's as many as it takes. If after the cold read I'm a long way from where it needs to be, I cycle back. I do the markup pass again. If I've changed a lot, I go back to level 1 and level 2 editing. The process responds to what I find. It's not fixed, it's not linear in that way. And I know I'm done when the returns start diminishing, when what I'm catching is getting smaller and less frequent, when I can read a chapter without feeling the need to change something on every page. That's when I stop chasing it and I lock it in and I turn it into my final book. To give you an idea, in the list of a 90,000 word novel, I was finding 5 or 6 edits a page during the proofread. In the house, at 150,000 words, I'm currently finding 5 or 6 edits a chapter. The codex work, the parallel editing, the level 1, level 2 passes, all the things we've spoken about so far in the craft chain, all of that is what's changing those numbers. I did the work earlier and I'm paying less for it now. If I skipped any of that, I'll be back to 5 or 6 things a page. So that's it for this one. In the next video, I want to talk about the human editor, what the role actually is for an indie author and why you're probably looking for the wrong thing. Leave a comment if this was useful and let me know where you're up to. I like to read the comments. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.